Ever wondered what it's like to look down on door frames and consider the tops of bookshelves as a regular view? This was just the normal life of someone who lived 100 years ago. Robert Wadlow was and still remains the world's tallest man. So, what was his medical condition that made him abnormally tall? How he managed living with it and ended up in a circus? Join us as we take you through an express journey of Robert's story, which was truly larger than life. You may have heard and seen tons of reports of abnormally tall people from all around the world, like Sultan Kösen of Turkey, who is also the world's tallest living man right now and has been since 2009, measuring 8 feet and 3 inches. And Rumeysa Gelgi is the tallest woman, also from Turkey, standing at 7 feet 7 inches. But long before them, in 1918, a seemingly normal baby was born in Alton City on the Mississippi River in Illinois, USA, called Robert Pershing Wadlow, who was going to go down in history, not because of his intelligence or achievements, but because of his exceptionally tall height. At birth, Robert seemed normal, but his extraordinary growth became apparent in the first months. By 6 months, he weighed 30 pounds, which is double the average. Most toddlers can hardly reach about 2.5 feet by their first birthday. Robert measured 3 feet 3.5 inches. His growth spurt didn't stop and made him reach the height of an average adult woman by age 5. That's 5 feet 4 inches. Robert's height was a shock at first to anyone who saw him, but as he had always been taller than every child and adult around him, he got used to it, and so did the people of Alton. The normal desks at his elementary school didn't quite fit him, and neither did his uniforms, so a special desk and uniform were made especially for him. At age 13, he was the world's tallest Boy Scout at 7 feet 4 inches, and when he graduated high school, he was 8 feet 4 inches tall. Media attention began in his early years, turning him into a local celebrity and later attracting national recognition. One thing was a constant in Robert's life. Where he went, he attracted attention, and before long, he became famous as the Alton Giant. People would take photos with him and make videos of him. That's why there's so much footage and pictures of him from a time when photography and cameras weren't that common. He was so unique that people wanted to capture that. Fun fact, when Robert was 17 years old, he could easily stand with his head out of the water at the deep end of the YMCA pool. And he's also the person with the biggest hands ever, measuring 12.75 inches from the wrist to the tip of his middle finger. There are some accounts that Robert's father, Harold Wadlow, would sometimes request a small fee when people wanted to take photos with his son. The reason could be the financial troubles that Robert's family faced due to his medical needs and custom-made clothing. Now, this may seem exploitative for a father to do to his son, but it's important to note here that at the time, it wasn't seen like it. The times were tough. Robert's childhood coincided with the Great Depression, and many people faced unemployment, poverty, and financial hardships. So, it was very normal for family members to work together to help support the family. Plus, Robert was himself fond of photography and did all the posing for pictures willingly, so it's safe to say that he wasn't exactly forced. But how come Robert just didn't stop growing? In other words, what made him so tall when the rest of his family were all of average height and weight? Before we answer that, please press the like button to show your appreciation for the video and subscribe to the channel for more informative content. Thank you. Now let's get back to the video. Robert Wadlow's towering height was attributed to hyperplasia of the pituitary gland, a condition that results in excessive growth hormone production. The pituitary gland, even referred to as the master gland, is a tiny but powerful pea-sized structure nestled at the base of our brain. This seemingly unimportant gland holds a pretty important function of controlling hormones related to growth, metabolism, and various vital functions. It secretes growth hormone, a crucial player in regulating our stature. Now, imagine if this master conductor were to go into overdrive. This is exactly what happened in Robert's case. This excessive growth hormone fueled his rapid and unprecedented growth, which mainly showed in his towering height. His family got to know about his condition when Robert was 12 years old. Now, if Robert were born today, he would have easily fixed his condition because of the availability of medical procedures. But back then, it just wasn't possible. And even if surgeons tried to, they weren't confident enough to try and help him. And so, Robert was left to just keep growing. Despite his abnormality, Robert pursued an education and engaged in different work opportunities. After completing high school, he enrolled at Shirtlift College, where he continued his studies and aimed to be a lawyer one day. His adult life was marked by both celebrity status and a determination to maintain his individuality in the public eye. His father secured him a deal with the Ringling Brothers Circus, which made him widely recognized after a 1936 US tour with the circus. It sounds weird for a father to employ his son at a freak show, right? But again, it wasn't like that. Robert appeared at prestigious venues like Madison Square Garden and the Boston Garden, but refused to conform to circus norms like wearing a top hat and tails. He would always be dressed in his everyday clothes during performances. Have a look at this picture of Robert with Major Mite, a little person traveling with the circus, comparing their show sizes. His father, describing the experience to the Evening Telegraph, said, "When we were about to appear, all light went off, and the spot was turned on the center ring. Then we walked out into the spotlight and stood around for a time while we were introduced. After that, we walked off." Robert Wadlow's presence was an instant hit for the circus, and he gathered huge crowds to see him. This made him no less than a celebrity. In 1938, he went on a promotional tour with the International Shoe Company, a venture that provided him with shoes free of charge. Imagine it like what influencers do for a living today. He would gather curious crowds and attention for the company, and in exchange, he would get his specially made size 37 AA shoes free of cost. The free shoes were certainly a bonus, but if you come to think of it, a pair of his shoes cost $100, which was a lot for the time. Robert didn't see himself as an exhibit, but as working in advertising. He appeared as an ambassador at stores and state fairs on behalf of the Peters Shoe Company and the International Shoe Company, emphasizing his role in promoting their products. He traveled so much that he ultimately visited more than 800 towns in 41 US states. Despite relatively good health in his early years, Wadlow's towering height led to a lack of sensation in his legs and feet, making it difficult for him to detect issues like blisters or infections. This problem became so big that he then required leg braces and a cane for walking. A wheelchair would have worked for him, but he refused to use it. The leg braces, while supporting his upright posture, were also the reason for his sudden downfall. Since he had little sensation in his legs, he once had an ill-fitting brace that was rubbing against his ankle. It caused friction, and before long, he got a blister at the site. The blister got so irritated that it resulted in an infection. Despite medical intervention, including a blood transfusion and emergency surgery, Wadlow's weakened immune system couldn't take it anymore and ultimately became the cause of his untimely death. Robert Wadlow died on the 15th of July, 1940, at the age of 22, and just a couple weeks earlier, he had been measured for the last time and was 8 feet 11.1 inches tall, making him the tallest recorded person ever. His funeral took place on July 19, 1940, in his hometown of Alton, Illinois, and in his honor and recognition, a life-size statue of him has stood since 1985 on the campus of the Southern Illinois University School of Dental Medicine. His family and friends remembered him as good-mannered and always polite. That's why he was also nicknamed the Gentle Giant. And thanks to advanced medical science, no one would ever be as tall as Robert Wadlow. So, did you know who he was before watching this video? What do you think about his life? Tell us in the comments. That's it for this video, folks. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out our next video shown on the screen about Nikola Tesla and his life struggles and inventions. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.